do, I'm just going to give it more of that brown, blue, green, phthalo green, those darker areas, the top for example there. So I'm scraping in an area. I have a kind of knee-jerk reaction when I do something a little bit more, looks a little bit too controlled or a little bit more regimented. I try and scrape in. I use maybe a rubber brush, one of those ones where you can scrape in the paint, expose the paint underneath, or neaten it up, or the other end of the brush itself, the wooden end, just to scrape in and get rid of or do something interesting to it. But yeah, I've got some darker tones here going over that. And look at my palette, so I'm constantly mixing colours. I think that's another thing I can suggest for you to do. You can do it in a formulaic way where you have one colour you use constantly and then another colour and another colour. But what I do, I like to keep mixing smaller quantities of paint, I guess. So even when I come back to a colour that's similar, I'm going to have to mix another colour, which is very similar. I mean, I've had years of experience, so I can mix very similar colours every time, but if it's slightly different, it gives that another level of complexity. And again, what I was saying before, unpredictability, because you know, the more colours and the more slightly different shades you get on the trees or a mountain or wherever, the better it is. You know, if you've got the same colours all over, it's going to look boring and flat. That's not what you don't want. So again, mixing a bit more brown. Bending the brush as well is another thing. Bend the brush. Some more black. There. Yeah, black is important, but remember, black desaturates the colour, so use black, but you have to keep using those other colours to keep the intensity alive, like those blues, the phthalo blue, the phthalo green, the sap green, the burnt umber. If you're doing foliage and things like that, you need to keep that intensity, and the black can aid it, make it go darker, and you need to desaturate in some areas, but don't use it too much. Okay, so I'm going to use a bit of this green, maybe a bit more brown in there. And make that slightly more unearthly green. And I'm going to come over here, so this bit, I'm going to maybe do a bit of a scumbling effect. Coming over here, this branch coming in. You can barely see an area where I've added solid colour completely, because I'm using the brush in a way which is sort of peppering the surface, which is what I want, and also it leaves me enough to work on later. So if there's an area I want to build up, for example, on this branch on the left, it's more high, it's more of a dense part of the branch over here, so I can press a bit harder there. But if I go in strong straight away, I can't really go back. I'll wash it off if I really want to, but I'll rather save myself time. And then, yeah, we're going to go over here. Again, these areas, use your palette knife to show you. Again, show you paint on your knife, and then you're going to get slightly different effects, which is good, because I said earlier, you don't want to repeat yourself. And already you're getting those more intense kind of me scraping in as well. You get a slightly different effect the brush can't create. And then over here as well, there you go, it's slightly lighter over there actually, so we'll go a bit lighter. I've just crept over to the left hand side. That's why it's always good to have other colours on your palettes, and you just creep up and do those lighter tones on those other branches. Okay, now I'm going to do a separate video, I think, like the branches and how to get the angles on the branches. But this is just a process. I'll be on this for quite a few hours, possibly, building out those branches and those leaves. Just again using that flat side of the knife there to push around. And you see it's pushing into the sky there really nicely. And then again, what I originally said, those original background ground tones coming through the gaps is what I want. Okay.